In 1999, one of Stanley Kubrick's most enigmatic films premiered, Eyes Wide Shut, starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. But even more mysterious than the film itself was the director's sudden death just days before its release. Kidman received a disturbing phone call from Kubrick shortly before he passed. And ever since, the movie hasn't just been seen as a masterpiece, it's become the subject of endless speculation, analysis, and conspiracy theories. Was Kubrick's death part of a cover-up? Did he avoid filming in New York because someone had warned him? And his Eyes Wide Shut actually based on a real secret society tied to the global elite? Today we're going to break down every one of these mysteries. Stanley Kubrick didn't just make unforgettable films, he became a mystery himself, sparking endless urban legends. One of the most persistent claims is that after the release of 2001: A Space Odyssey, NASA asked Kubrick to fake the Apollo 11 moon landing, broadcast on July 20th, 1969. The story goes that in exchange, Kubrick was given access to experimental camera gear developed by the US government, equipped with a special aperture that allowed him to shoot in extreme low light. That same equipment was later used in Barry Lyndon, which was famously lit almost entirely by candlelight. Some believe he eventually couldn't live with the secret and decided to leave hidden clues in his films to tell the truth, especially in The Shining. But no other Kubrick film has inspired The Shining. But no other Kubrick film has inspired as many theories and conspiracies as Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise plays Dr. Bill Hartford, a New York physician, living what seems to be a perfect life. He's married to Alice, played by Nicole Kidman, and they have a young daughter named Helena. But everything changes when Alice confesses a bold fantasy involving a naval officer. Stunned by her admission, Bill sets off on a strange, dreamlike journey through the city on the night before Christmas. As the night goes on, he crosses paths with people and situations that reveal the hidden side of marriage, desire, and the privileged world he thought he knew. The film was set to be Kubrick's big comeback after Full Metal Jacket. But then, something shocking happened. In early March of 1990, Kubrick put together a private screening with his family, the heads of Warner Brothers, Tom Cruise, and Nicole Kidman. He showed them an early cut of Eyes Wide Shut. According to everyone in the room, he was in a great mood and said he had just made the best film of his life. But on March 7th, the news broke. Stanley Kubrick had died. According to the official report, he suffered a heart attack in his sleep at home. In other words, a natural death. But there's one detail Kidman didn't share until 2002. In an interview with National Enquirer, she said that on March 6th, just one day before his death, Kubrick called her. He sounded nervous and When she asked what was going on, he said, "They're going to poison all of us so fast we won't even have time to react." Kidman thought he was being dramatic and didn't think much of it at the time. Kidman's revelation only added to the rumors that had already been circulating during the post-production of Eyes Wide Shut that Kubrick had been eliminated. There are, after all, ways to trigger a heart attack without leaving any evidence. But the real question is, who would have wanted him dead, and why? For conspiracy theorists, Eyes Wide Shut became something else entirely, a secret waiting to be uncovered. On the surface, it looked like a drama about desire and the complexity of human nature. But that wasn't enough. They watched it again and again, searching obsessively for hidden clues. They soon realized the key was in the film's most famous scene. Through Nick, a pianist friend, Bill finds out about a secret party at a large house outside the city, an event full of women and temptation. Gets the password, Fidelio, and sneaks in. Like everyone else, he wears a mask and a robe. A woman tries to warn him, but he ignores her. As he walks through the place, he sees strange, intimate scenes where anything goes. It all feels like a ritual, and the mood keeps getting darker. Everything changes when the man in charge, dressed in red, tells Bill to take off his mask. He's about to be punished, but the same woman steps in and offers herself instead. The man lets Bill leave, but not without a warning. If he ever talks about what happened, there will be serious consequences for him and his family. After studying that sequence, some suggested that Kubrick himself might have once been in Cruise's position, and that through this film he was trying to expose the global elite, groups that, behind a perfect and respectable image, hide much darker intentions. Many groups that, behind a perfect and respectable image, hide much darker intentions. Many believed Kubrick had been in danger for years. That raised even more questions. Why didn't he shoot the film in New York, the city where the story takes place and where he was born? Especially for someone known for his obsessive attention to detail. And why had he never gone back to the United States? That's why many believed Kubrick was calling out the US government. Some said he had already done it in A Clockwork Orange, where the Ludovico technique used to fix the violent Alex DeLarge was a way to criticize how the White House funded mind control experiments. These programs really existed, like Project MK Ultra in the 60s and 70s, backed by US intelligence, and some even believe it was connected to the Manson murders. If that was the case, Kubrick may have spent years living under threat. That could explain why he left the US and moved his family to the Child Wickberry estate in England. However, that theory doesn't match what Kubrick said himself. In one of the few interviews he gave, he said he moved to the UK because he felt comfortable there and had access to a good low-cost production center. He also wanted to stay away from Hollywood, where he had little creative control, and from the growing danger in New York. That's why, starting with Lolita, he shot all his films in England, even if he had to recreate other places and time periods. As for why he never went back, he said he was afraid of flying. But those statements are easy to question. If there's one director who had full creative control his entire career, even with big studios, it was Stanley Kubrick. And about that fear of flying, he still showed up at festivals and conferences all over Europe. So, yeah, there's still a lot to dig into. Over time, people started linking Eyes Wide Shut to the couple formed by Baron Guy de Rothschild and Baroness Marie-Helene de Rothschild, members of a powerful European dynasty. On December 12, 1972, they hosted a party at the Château de Ferrières, just outside Paris. They invited European aristocrats and stars like Audrey Hepburn. Everyone had to wear formal clothes and strange accessories designed by Salvador Dali. The event was meant to be private, but some photos got out and showed a very bizarre setting. Fancy rooms filled with people wearing animal masks and cages on their heads. The centerpieces were stuffed turtles and broken baby dolls. Dinner was served on top of a naked mannequin, lying on a table covered in roses. And one last thing, the outside of the chateau was lit in red. The Rothschild party set off a wave of theories. The most popular said the red lights pointed to satanic rituals. The dolls, according to some, symbolized human sacrifices. But one thing was certain, it showed the strange and possibly dark habits of the powerful elite. But it wasn't just the party that got people's attention. The ritual scene in the movie was filmed at Mentmore Towers, an English mansion also known as the Mentmore. And guess who used to own it? That's right, it was part of the Rothschild estate until 1977, when it was sold to Maharishi Mahesh until 1977, when it was sold to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, an Indian guru and founder of the Transcendental Meditation movement. People kept digging, and eventually another theory surfaced, a possible link to Scientology. We've talked about Scientology in other videos, but it's worth going over a few key points. It was founded by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard and teaches that humans are spiritual beings called thetans, who over time have forgotten their true nature. To reach a state of clarity, Scientologists are expected to face and process their past traumas. While it's officially recognized as a religion in the US and the UK, countries like France and Germany classify it as a cult. Tom Cruise is the most recognizable face of Scientology. But the theories don't point to him. They focus on Vivian Kubrick, the filmmaker's youngest daughter. She worked closely with her father, filming behind-the-scenes footage for his movies. She also joined the crew of Eyes Wide Shut, but around that time, she got involved with the church. Soon after, she walked away. Not just from the production, but from her family too. Kubrick reportedly wrote her a 40-page letter asking her to come back, not just to the film, but to his life. She never did. Vivian's case led to a new wave of theories. Some believe Kubrick used Eyes Wide Shut to expose questionable practices within Scientology. One scene in particular caught people's attention. At the end of the film, Bill and Alice walk through a toy store with Helena when the little girl suddenly wanders off, followed by two men in suits. Those same men had appeared earlier in the film at the Christmas party hosted by Victor Ziegler, Bill's friend. According to some, Kubrick was trying to show how his daughter had been pulled away by mysterious figures who had been watching from the very beginning. The Scientology theories didn't have much to stand on. For one, Vivian joined the church while the film was already in production, and the script had been written long before that. In 2014, she shared photos of her father on Twitter, along with a message saying how much she loved him, proof that their relationship hadn't been completely broken. 2 years later, she used the same platform to respond to theories about her father, though she was talking specifically about the claims that he faked the moon landing. Still, in that same post, she wrote something that caught people's attention. There are plenty of real conspiracies that have happened throughout history or are happening right now. But over time, new rumors once again pointed to a link between Eyes Wide Shut and secret societies. Secret societies are said to have been around for centuries, made up of kings, presidents, celebrities, and other powerful figures. They're believed to influence major events in history and to share one goal: creating a new world order, a single global government with total control. Kubrick's connection to secret societies is said to have started back in the 60s, when they approached him to take part in their plans for control. It's believed he refused and started using his films to expose their strange behavior. According to the theory, he began showing signs of this in movies like A Clockwork Orange and Barry Lyndon, but revealed everything in Eyes Wide Shut. That's why some believe they decided to get rid of him. They also would have pressured Warner Brothers to change the final cut, so their secrets wouldn't come to light. Still, fans of the film and of conspiracy theories notice strange and symbolic elements, often tied to secret groups. One of the most talked about is the mirror, which shows up as early as the poster. Some believe it works like a portal to dark places, where people trade their souls for fame and fortune. Another recurring symbol is the pentagram, often associated with Satanism. The film also features 8-pointed stars, known as Stars of Ishtar, named after the Mesopotamian goddess of war, love, and fertility. You can spot them when Bill arrives at the secret ceremony, and even earlier in the decorations at Ziegler's Christmas party. A third symbol is the all-seeing eye. You can spot it right on the poster. Alice has one eye open, which some say represents that same eye. Throughout the film, there are moments where she seems to know everything that's going on, including Bill's darkest discoveries. There's also the eye in the pyramid on the US dollar bill, often seen as a symbol of power and transcendence. And money itself plays a key role in the story, used by Bill, and especially by those who hold even more power than he does. A fourth recurring symbol is the rainbow, often seen as a shift from the real world into a dreamlike one. You can see that in Bill's journey. Early on, two women tell him they'll take him to what's at the end of the rainbow. Later, he walks into a costume shop called Rainbow, where the owner is seen forcing his own daughter into work. This suggests that Bill leaves behind a clean, colorful world and enters one full of darkness and disturbing corruption. Even the film's title, Eyes Wide Shut, hints at something deeper. Some people know what's really going on, but they can't speak about it. The theories about secret societies also offer a different take on the film's ending. When Helena walks away from her parents, followed by the same two men, author and filmmaker Sean McCann, who studied the film in depth, pointed out that in that same scene, there's a board game called Magic Circle, with a cover that looks a lot like the Ritual Circle from The Mansion. According to this theory, it's a sign the cult knows Bill told Alice what he saw, and that's why they go after his daughter. Another sign of how far they're willing to go. While some of these theories seem valid, many have been challenged with real facts. In one of the few interviews he gave, Kubrick downplayed the myths surrounding him. People close to the director said he never meant to expose anything, not in Eyes Wide Shut or in any of his films. In fact, he reportedly didn't even want to direct the secret ceremony scene. He said he didn't know enough about cults. That's why he handed over much of that work to production designer Stephen Routley. As for the masks, some members of the team bought them from Italian artisan Sergio Boldrin. This kind of information could have shut down the more extreme theories, but instead, it only sparked more. Even before its release, Eyes Wide Shut was no longer just a film. It had become something larger, stranger, and far more disturbing. Kubrick's death triggered a wave of conspiracy theories. Each more twisted and elaborate than the last. And while none of them can be proven, they carry a chilling kind of pull, equal parts terrifying and impossible to ignore. He's the